My wife handed me a DNA test at Christmas dinner. Surprise! Your son isn't yours. I'm taking half in the divorce. So I told her, check your email. Her face went from smug to terrified in seconds. I never imagined this would be the way my marriage ended. Not with a slow fade, not with counseling sessions or quiet resentment, but with my wife, Madison, smirking across the dinner table at her parents' house while our 6-year-old son, Caleb, sat 2 seats over trying to figure out why the adults suddenly froze. Forks in midair, eyes locked on her like she had just tossed a grenade into the mashed potatoes. She slid the envelope across the table like she was unveiling some grand finale, something rehearsed, practiced, perfected. And to be fair, she had rehearsed. She had been planning this moment for months, maybe years. That much I know now. But back then, all I saw was a woman I trusted, the mother of my child, acting like humiliation was a holiday gift. When she said those words, "Your son isn't yours," she didn't even blink. I think that hurt more than the sentence itself. The lack of hesitation. The way she leaned back in her chair like she expected applause, maybe gasps, maybe her mother grabbing her arm, whispering, "Honey, are you sure?" Instead, there was silence, so crushing, I swear I could hear the lights buzzing. Madison always liked control. I learned that quickly in our marriage. She liked being the one with the plan, the one steering the wheel, the one who could twist the narrative in her favor. So when she chose Christmas dinner in front of her family, in front of our son, to break the truth, it wasn't spontaneous cruelty. It was a power play. She expected me to fall apart. She expected me to stutter, to beg, to break down and make myself look weak. She wanted witnesses. She wanted her story to spread fast and spread clean, with no room for my version. She truly thought she was 5 steps ahead. But the thing is, she didn't know I already knew. She didn't know that I had known for 3 months. She didn't know I had spent sleepless nights staring at the ceiling while she slept beside me, wondering how I missed signs. She didn't know I had quietly hired an attorney, a damn good one, or that I had been gathering documents, screenshots, bank statements, phone logs. She didn't know that I had already spoken to her sister, Erica, who broke down crying one night and confessed everything. How Madison and her co-worker, Tyler, had been seeing each other for nearly 2 years. How Madison had bragged after a few too many glasses of wine that Caleb probably wasn't mine anyway. How she had been laying groundwork to leave me the moment her promotion was finalized and her financial goals hit the level she wanted. Yeah, my wife had a grand exit plan. A dramatic reveal, followed by a calculated divorce, child support, half the assets, and a clean narrative where she was a martyr who finally told the truth. She didn't expect the truth to hit back. So when she dropped that envelope onto the table like a mic, I didn't react. I didn't even touch it. I just looked at her and said calmly, quietly, "Check your email." And it was like watching a mask crack in real time. At first, she didn't move. She just squinted at me like I'd broken script, like I wasn't playing the role she assigned me. Then she forced a laugh, but it came out shaky. "What? Why?" I repeated, "Check your email." 3 words. That's all it took to knock the smugness right off her face. Her mother, confused, asked what was going on, but Madison didn't answer. Her phone was already in her hand. She unlocked it, opened the mail app, and then I watched her eyes dart left to right, widening with every line she read. The color drained from her face, so fast I thought she might faint. She swallowed hard. Her hands started shaking. Her breathing turned shallow. That was the moment everyone realized something was wrong. Not with me, but with her. I had forwarded everything. Every message between her and Tyler. Every bank transfer between them. Every hotel receipt. Every photo. Every timeline inconsistency. Every piece of evidence my attorney told me to gather. And then, attached to the bottom of the email, the second DNA test. The real one. The legally admissible one. The one she didn't know I had taken behind her back. She didn't know I had gone to the appointment myself, received the result myself, and locked them away while I figured out what to do. The envelope she handed me was fake. I'd seen enough forged documents to recognize a counterfeit lab seal. She thought she could bait me into an emotional reaction using a falsified test she printed who knows where. But the real results? They were in her inbox now, screaming the truth she hoped to control. Caleb was mine, 99.98%. My son, my flesh and blood, my whole world. She lied about that too. She used my love for him as leverage in her exit plan. And now her whole strategy was collapsing in front of her family, who were staring at her like they were seeing her for the first time. She whispered, No, this isn't. But she couldn't finish the sentence. Erica, who had been sitting quietly across the table, finally whispered, I told you, Madison. I told you this would blow up. Madison shot her a look that could kill, but Erica didn't flinch. She just looked tired, exhausted, like she had been waiting for this truth to spill out. Madison's father asked what the hell was happening. Her mother covered her mouth like she might cry. And there I was, sitting in the middle of this storm, calm, steady, heartbreak burning deep, but held together by the knowledge that I wasn't crazy. I wasn't weak. I wasn't blind. Then Caleb looked at me with those big blue eyes, my eyes, and said, Daddy, are you okay? And that nearly broke me. I stood up, walked to him, kissed the top of his head, and said, I'm okay, buddy. You didn't do anything wrong. Madison tried to stand, mumbling my name, reaching out like she wanted to grab my arm. But I stepped back. Don't, I said, and she froze. My attorney told me not to confront her behind closed doors, not to raise my voice, not to accuse without proof. He said the best weapon in situations like this wasn't rage. It was transparency. It was letting the truth expose itself. And now it had. Her parents were demanding explanations. Erica was crying. Caleb was confused. Madison was unraveling. I turned toward her father and said, I'll take Caleb home. We're leaving. Her father nodded. He didn't stop me. He didn't even look at his daughter. Madison followed me outside, begging, pleading, switching from anger to panic to tears like she was flipping through emotional channels, hoping one would work. I didn't speak. Not once. I just buckled Caleb into the car and got in. As I pulled out of the driveway, she screamed my name, but I rolled up the window. Caleb fell asleep on the way home, his head tilted toward me like he always did when he was little. That night, after I put him to bed, I sat in the living room alone, staring at the silent Christmas lights blinking on and off. Madison tried calling, over and over, then texting, then emailing, then calling again. I didn't answer. I forwarded everything to my lawyer and let him handle the rest. The next few days were messy. Madison spiraled. Hard. She tried to rewrite the narrative. Tried to claim I fabricated evidence. Tried to claim Erica lied. Tried to claim the affair didn't mean anything. Tried to claim the DNA test she gave me was a real one and mine was fake. But the lab verified my test. Her test had no verifiable chain of custody, no legitimate provider, and no authenticity whatsoever. Turns out she just printed it, like a school project. Once she realized her story couldn't hold, she went for desperation. She begged to talk, begged to fix things, begged to go to counseling, begged for one more chance, begged for forgiveness. But here's the thing. She wasn't begging because she loved me. She was begging because she lost her leverage. She lost her narrative. She lost control. And she knew the divorce wouldn't go how she planned. My lawyer moved fast. Temporary custody went to me. A restraining order was placed between her and my financial accounts. The court saw the affair. They saw the planning. They saw the manipulation. They saw the attempt to use a forged document to sever a father from his son. Judges don't like that. Madison fought hard, but every move she made looked worse in court. And through all of it, I kept my composure. Not because I wasn't hurt, I was shattered, but because Caleb needed stability. He needed a parent who wasn't using him as a pawn. He needed truth, even if he didn't understand it yet. And slowly, painfully, quietly, Madison's whole facade fell apart. She lost primary custody. She lost a majority of her financial demands. She lost every ounce of credibility she tried to weaponize. The day the judge finalized the divorce, Madison wouldn't even look at me. She just stared at the floor, trembling. I should have felt triumphant, victorious, like justice had been served. But all I felt was tired in a way that sinks into your bones and doesn't go away. A few days later, after everything settled, Caleb and I were watching a movie on the couch. He leaned against me, his head on my chest, and said, "Daddy, you're not leaving, right?" And I held him closer and said, "Never. I'm not going anywhere." He smiled small and sleepy and whispered, "Good." That was the moment everything clicked. All the pain, all the betrayal, all the chaos. It didn't matter, not compared to him. I didn't lose a family. I saved one. And someday, when he's old enough, I'll tell him everything. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because he deserves the truth. The real truth. Not the one Madison tried to craft. Not the one she rehearsed. Not the one she weaponized. But the one that kept me standing when everything else fell apart. And if there's one thing I've learned through all this, it's that the truth doesn't always come when you want it, or how you want it, or in the moment you feel ready for it. Sometimes it comes in an email on Christmas night, shattering illusions you didn't even know you still held. Sometimes it comes when someone tries to break you and accidentally frees you instead. And sometimes it comes in the form of a little boy falling asleep on your chest, trusting you completely even when the world around him is chaos. So yeah, my wife tried to use a DNA test to ruin me. She tried to steal my dignity, my reputation, my son, and half of everything I work for. But she failed. Because the truth, once it starts unraveling, doesn't stop. It exposes everything. Even the things you didn't know you needed to see. And now, months later, as I sit here writing this, Caleb is asleep down the hall, his nightlight casting soft stars across his walls. My home is quiet, peaceful, mine, and for the first time in years, I can breathe. If Madison ever reads this, I hope she understands one thing. Not why I left, not why I fought, not why the truth mattered, but why her plan would never have worked. Because she underestimated the one thing she thought she could manipulate, a father's love, and that, more than anything, was her biggest mistake.